All right, I want to call this February 6, 2024 meeting to order. Ruth, you want to lead us in pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the Fayette County Commission will now meet as the Board of Equalization and Review. Eddie?
Got one.
We'll just give them-
County court consolidation. Wait a minute, there's two more keys.
Is that for Board of Equalization, Eddie?
Oh, this board.
Yeah,
It's combined divided
Oh, board-
section.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry. No, I have no one.
Is there anybody- Is there anybody present that has a petition for the Board of Equalization? Okay,
We're just convening for till 10:15, right? This is coming in.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not till next meeting, but till 10:15.
So we're gonna convene till 10:15?
We're gonna recess.
Recess.
that until 10:15. Or
Okay,
whatever it says on your thing.
well, they don't say
No, I didn't put that there, sorry.
Yeah, it's recess. So
till the 12th.
at 10:15 tonight.
Yeah, okay. Motion to recess as the Board of Equalization Review and reconvene at 10:15 today.
So,
All in favor?
Aye. okay, now Eddie.
Eddie, you got anything else now?
So
Are you
combined.
sure that's the right time? Out there.
I know we changed it this week on you.
This is the exonerations. Now, the page that you signed was not there. It's on my bed.
Okay, we approve this petition to combine property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I'll motion to approve the real property exonerations just presented this morning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You gonna bring it, he'll bring it
I'll
back. Yeah.
Bring the ticket.
Move to approve payroll for February 23rd.
Second.
All in favor? Yeah, we're gonna skip the vouchers and invoices. Approve, meeting minutes for.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 31st.
Second, all.
Aye.
For having estate settlements.
No,
Okay,
we don't have any, we don't take until the 16th.
okay.
All right, Ruth.
First thing is the support agreement with GSD. Cannon?
Yes.
Okay, I think that's Cannon. That's Cannon from GSD.
All right, thanks for coming this morning.
Yeah, you wanna,
Nice speak.
you got any questions, Ms. Taylor?
Yeah,
I know you
I
got
mean,
questions.
mainly my concern is, you know, I met for almost all day with someone from GST to work on our website in February last year, and we still don't have a website. So, and we've paid for it. So I want to make sure that you guys have a plan in place to get that up and running. And is the lady still, is it Trish? What was her name? Trina?
I know her name.
Yeah,
She's still employed
she's
there?
actually a contractor that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And she still is, you know, doing contract work with us. But I think the plan going forward, I think the website is at a place where the structure itself is where the county can take it and move forward with it and then not continue to require us to be involved in it. So is that a fair assessment?
Yes, so I have access to it. I can log in. We set up kind of generic email addresses for each department. And I don't know if she has set up those.
They just have to be accepted.
Okay, she sent them.
An
Okay.
invitation. and they-
Did she-
Because I sent an email asking, but it may have gotten caught up in the other emails that we've been sending, asking what my next step is. I'm allowed to go in and start changing things now.
Did she make the design changes that she and I worked on?
We have.
I hope
she-
so.
I hope so
Yeah,
too.
want to see it?
Yeah, I don't need to see it right now, but I'll look at it before I leave. But I just want to make sure that, you know, we're getting that we get that going, because it's been a year.
Well, the one thing I think is, we'll get it to the point where it meets your expectation of what you all sat down and talked through. And I think the key going forward is we intended to have like an ongoing maintenance plan with that, but Amy's okay with just taking that on and then the county not having to pay that additional expense to have that with us. Anything technical involving that website, the company's gonna handle that, and we do handle
Okay.
that. Anything outside of the sound.
Is the company gonna credit the county for the year we haven't had a website? Because we did pay for its design and management. So that's an issue.
That's it. Let me look at I'll have to look at when we've invoiced and the timing and everything. Yeah, because there could be other, in addition to paying to have the site, there may be other bills, but I'll go back and look at. Because I understand, these conversations, I was looking back at, the dialogue, and it started back in 2021.
I don't know if it's possible. I should have made a copy of them, but I gave Trish my notes because
Okay.
about when I had organized it and how to do it. If she still has those, I'd love to have them back or have
And
a
I know
copy.
she sent me an email asking, and this was last February, to kind of populate the information that you had
Mhm.
requested, and that we had set up a Google Doc so she could just grab it and put it in. And that happened maybe by May, but then that's kind of when communication dropped off.
Okay. You reach out to her and ask for,
And she has a copy of the notes.
just
Yeah.
send you a copy of my notes.
Okay.
And then I can do, if you have any questions. I think because I just organized it in the notes, like how the website should be, what should go under each heading and that sort of thing.
So this is what you gave to Trina, is that right?
Trina, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, right.
yeah,
Yes,
'cause I'd like to see those too. I never saw those, 'cause I wanna make sure that what we agreed to, that when it does get completely finished.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Okay, so,
And the only other question I have on the website is just, you or Trina will be able to help us transition it to live when
Oh,
it's time
yeah.
for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that won't involve Trina, that would just be our technical
Awesome.
staff.
You have any
That's
questions?
that part.
oh yeah, what about the email server? Because that server we're using is terrible, Rackspace.
Right, right.
It is
Well,
like that was like the FBI's worst nightmare 15 years ago. I mean,
Right.
seriously, when I worked there. So, we keep getting phishing things from our own email server. Which people are gonna think is legit because it's our server, but it's,
Yeah, well, when we moved to that, we did it, and it's another thing that we always try to do to find the most economical, way. But in hindsight, now I've suggested that we move to Office 365. Which it's just gonna be a much overall better move to have it hosted, with Microsoft.
when we do have the Office suite already, so.
Yeah, we'll handle all of that, as long as I'll figure out exactly what it would cost for every mailbox. It's actually a little bit more, but it's minimal. We're talking mailbox.
But it'll be integrated with the calendar features and everything else, so that would make a difference. And, and work and
Well,
not
it's just, it's.
send us
more-
viruses.
Under the circumstances, it's not just Rackspace, mail in general, and I think it's a security thing. A lot of the hosting that's been done has had, a lot of people run into trouble. We've had problems with other customers that aren't hosted at Rackspace, but moving on to, I will say that what we have with Office 365 has been good. So that's our recommendation, which I did mention that to Ruth.
How does it work? I understand how it works on the computers, but are we gonna be able to use it on our iPhones and our,
Yeah.
the people who have Androids?
Yeah, we'll set it up, however you want to be able to use it, the arts and technical staff, whether that be Christian or Chris. People that mainly come in on site,
And
they
you
can come in.
train Amy on how to do it too, because for us, we come in and we say, hey, we can't get on our email, and it'd be nice to, because we've had so many issues with email.
I think a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we have delays in getting it and all kinds of things, so I'm glad that you're taking us off of that. When will that happen to you?
Well, I've just been waiting for a go ahead.
Mhm.
If you want us to just proceed with that, I think it's gonna be the difference between, I think it's gonna be $3 additional per month for a mailbox.
Okay,
And it's just, there are too many benefits to really not go that way. There's not really any other good option I could recommend.
I agree with that, especially with the issues we've had. Do you guys?
Yeah.
No, I've had a lot of problems. Yeah, I had mine.
Okay, so it sounds like you could go ahead and pull the trigger, that'd be great.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get that started. One other thing I did want to mention, because I'm here today. Amy is aware of the fact that a lot of counties are applying for cybersecurity grants, state and local cybersecurity grants. And I'm putting all the technical information together to apply to get everything that the county would be eligible to get funding for.
Great.
And I should have that in your hands probably by sometime next week. And there's gonna be a 10% match. It's only gonna probably be about $15,000 or $20,000 worth of equipment and software. So the county's match on that is 10%, so it would be $1,500. But the two things that it's gonna be really critical with is, number one, it's going to have a training platform to where it will basically, you don't have employees go through a formal hour-long training and test. It basically just runs, all the time. It basically picks up whether or not someone needs, some training or pointers, and it may have 5 questions that just kind of brings their awareness level up. But it's not a big distracting. They don't have to stop what they're doing, but they have to kind of acknowledge that, I may have a lack of understanding here. So this training is always there for them, and it just continues on as long as you would decide to keep it. But at least, even if you only have it for a year, that's one of the biggest liabilities I think that is out among all counties. It's just basic user awareness, so you don't get caught with a phishing, trap. So that's one thing. But the other big thing is we're getting everybody to move over to an encrypted cloud backup for anyone who wants to participate. And if an office declines it, they can decline it. But to be able to guarantee 100% if something happens, whether it be, building was burned down, or you had a terrible ransom attack, or something went in encrypted files, that we would have a very quick way of getting everybody back up and running to have your services available to the public. Because the way things are right now is every office handles the backup differently. They may take tapes off site. There's a lot of different ways. And every county and every office does things a little bit differently. What this would be is it would be just it's called a network attached storage, and then it would encrypt the backup that would go to the cloud, and then there would be no way that one backup copy for all offices that participated, we could use that. And because one of our concerns is we're going to be here if something awful happened, to try and help everybody get back up and running. But it would make things much easier if we knew that we could go and very quickly get a good copy of data. Because now, I don't know if you've heard of it, there's been a few situations here recently where a lot of data has been lost. And I don't want to mention any names, but I don't want to, we do our best, but this is a way to take this out of it. It doesn't evolve.
I understand the technology, so I'll probably follow up with you at some point after the meeting, because I have some concerns about cloud backups just from
You don't have, and that's just the thing, you don't necessarily have to back up to the cloud. What we could do, if you have different buildings, we could move it to another building. It's basically. I could explain.
I think,
Yeah,
I don't mean,
we're running out of
I don't
time,
mean to
that's
be
why.
rude, I don't mean to be rude, but I think she's trying to tell you, she'll try to see after.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one thing about.
Yeah, and I certainly
It's
don't want to be in a
9:50
public
it's
meeting
not-
when we talk about what encryption we're
It's 9:15
using.
too.
But that will be paid for under that grant.
Okay, okay. Well, just tell Amy and
You
she'll put it on
wanna,
the
did you
agenda.
wanna vote on that before we go to 9:15?
Yeah, I guess we'll get into it if for any reason we don't get credited for that website, but, I move we approve the renewal.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I guess the bid openings now,
So.
or awards, I'm sorry, awards.
Hard bid.
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Right, so we did, we have everybody that submitted. Here's the two that we're looking at. 31 and a 34
I'll let you
for
do it.
these two. Jerry's gone through them, our supervisor down there to kind of check out what we're doing. This one here, local Fayetteville, Mike Cassidy's been running this project. I talked to him today. And John, we talked about like being bonded. Both of these companies are bonded and okay. So the Jerry's approval, we were talking about approving this system.
Okay, so the company is. What's the name of the company?
Behind the total of it.
West Virginia Design Build LLC.
Did your motion?
The estimates for 31,750. I move we approve the bid based on the recommendations of our maintenance supervisor at the park.
Second, all in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Ruth, you wanna?
Oh, got you back up.
Ruth, you wanna?
I
So,
heard Andy Hudson was here. I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Glasses.
and then are you with Amy? Okay, I don't know your name. John.
He's a GST.
No, so there was Southern Regional.
Oh, okay, okay.
So this wasn't on the agenda, but this is just an introduction. They had to reschedule from last meeting, so we're just squeezing this in. Welcome back. Allison Taylor. Yeah, we're lucky to have this guy in this.
Yeah, we don't know him. How are you?
Oh, sorry, I was reading something.
All right, well, I don't envy you the task ahead of you, Superintendent.
So far, so good, though, it's awesome. Good. I was appointed the 4th of November, 2023. For the superintendent position at Southern Regional Jail. But we just want to come meet and greet you guys and, offer you a chance to come over and tour the place if you'd like to. Mr. Hudson's been amazing now. We've done some really good things with the staff. We're at full capacity with our staffing right now. National Guard should be leaving at the end of the month of March. So
Mayor Clearly will be happy about that. Let me tell you, he's got somebody over there. Well, that's says a lot.
but you guys are busy and we don't want to take up all your time. We just want to come see our face and see what we do and hope they'll come over and just see how far they've come. So,
Appreciate all
Thank
your
you.
hard work and what you got ahead of you.
I appreciate it.
Well, great, thank you for coming down.
You're welcome anytime you look forward, just get hold of me.
I've seen enough. Myself.
We've done a lot of it. We want.
Have you
we
have
want
you
to show-
updated?
We want to show it all.
But our interim deputy superintendent Sherry Davis, she's with us back here too.
Oh, hey,
But
Oh, there
this is
she
the
is.
basics, and if you guys need, you got her contact.
well, thanks for coming by today. We
Thank you.
appreciate
Reach
it.
out to them.
You know, we're on the receiving end of that lawsuit that you guys were able to settle, so we're still in it.
We got more to come.
I'm sure.
We'll get to it.
Well, thanks for coming by. Take care.
Thank you.
Good luck with
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you, thank you.
See you later, sir.
Thank you.
No, you didn't. It was great. Thank you for coming down. We appreciate
All
it.
right, Ruth, you want number 2?
Okay, that was looking at Brady already.
Yep.
John.
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to look?
Yes.
You want to review them? Okay.
First, I'd like to thank the other two
for giving me the chance to look at these. Even though I did defer to them, they could have made a decision. After taking the four, reading the four, all four of them had the ability to do the contract that we're needing. I took it down to two, Spillman, Thomas, and Battle, and Steptoe and Johnson. And I personally feel that Steptoe and Johnson would be the choice for the county because of the information that Commissioner Taylor shared during our last meeting on the 31st. Being local.
That was basically that they listed that they had no conflicts in their clients, and they also have several county clients for this same program that they listed as well. So those two were compelling to me.
Greenbrier Settlers.
Was it, was
Yeah.
that a
I
motion?
just read them that morning, John. I hadn't seen them in advance either. I just read them when I got here. But
So, yeah, my motion is to approve Steptoe and Johnson.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number three, Bruce? Is anybody from?
Yeah, we got-
Yeah, we got
The
that.
other one is the White Oak PSD.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve reappointment of Mr. Charnaby.
You have
Second.
to- His
All in favor?
term
Aye.
expired January 1. Do you have to back it up?
yeah, retroactive to January 1st. I mean, typically their bylaws allow them to keep serving until it comes up, but I don't know. I haven't seen their bylaws.
All in favor?
Aye. This is on the recommendation of the PSD board.
And then your next item is the letter of response to fire association question.
Well, do you want to, I don't know how long that's going to be. Be longer than 20 minutes probably.
Yeah, let's,
We'll hold off till,
We got that, and then there's a letter regarding budget collaboration. That's the last two items on my executive.
well,
list, so.
I don't mind doing the letters for budget collaboration. If the other two commissioners don't, we'll wait on the other.
or we could let Eddie do his budget presentation.
Eddie could do it, budget.
How long is it
You
gonna-
have it with
How
you?
long you take, Eddie?
Mine's a short, it's 20
Hop, skipping and
It
jumping.
usually is really short. He doesn't ask for much.
If you want to, Eddie, go ahead.
Okay. On our budget request, there was. If you look at last year's, the only question on there, it said, on line N05 group insurance expense. Said budgeted 166,264. I believe that number is incorrect. It included my PBC and my, general. So the last year's budget was not $585,000. I wish it was. So this year I'm asking for $463,652, and basically all that is salaries and FICA, insurance, retirement expenses, a little bit of travel money, a little bit of training and education, and a little bit of dues and subscriptions, and basically that's my budget in a nutshell. So,
Thank you, Eddie.
I appreciate the consideration. Now, I do want to add this, you know, you guys are well aware, we're not living in the same world we were living in 2020. And you can't hire people for what you used to hire them for, so I would like you to keep that in consideration when you approve the budgets, because I am a person short, and I'm gonna have to hire somebody, and I can't start that person out at what? I started them out 4 years ago, so we have to. In fact, I've got people that have been there for several years that are not making what people at Walmart make.
Well, we agree with you. I think we've been starting to budget for fewer people, leaner and meaner, basically, but we're paying them more. Because we're able to then recruit from a more qualified pool of applicants.
Exactly.
In some of these jobs, so.
The last job I posted, I put it on Facebook, zero applications.
I don't know where people get their money, but they sure don't work.
Yeah. That one of the issues too is
Yes, I do have.
Yeah.
For you to sign, that I dropped that actually, wasn't on there.
Who they have?
All right, folks.
there's not two of them, none of us.
I will get out of here.
Thank you, Eddie.
But they
You
can
want-
still back up.
signing
over
something
there,
was supposed to
keep
come.
their backup system over
Oh,
there.
shoot, I don't know.
Keep their backup
Ruth?
system.
If we, yeah.
Did I accidentally cut John out of his signature? Would you check and see? I may have cut him out of his
The
signature.
PSD board, it's the PSD board one that had all three on it. That's the only thing I've signed today.
I cut him out. Sorry, John.
That's all right.
That was his motion, we cut him out.
So I think you do that, when networks talk to each other. And that's why, like, that 911 and MITRE really want us to.
They can set up a server over there, that's in the ours could talk to.
Yeah, that's right.
You wanna do the letter number 5 or wait? You wanna do, we got enough time?
We got 4 minutes.
Well, you could, I mean, you don't. have
I'm not
to
gonna,
wait until right
I'm
now.
not gonna say too much about it. I'm gonna,
Well, I'd like to do all the fire service stuff at the same
I don't
time,
have
and
a
that's,
problem with
that's
that.
fire
yeah,
service
that's, I
related.
don't have a problem with it.
The dilapidated bids, it'll take forever, so.
Yeah, we
So
can't
we can
start
get, let's
till,
get started,
can we can't start till 9:30, can we?
can we? That's 4 minutes. You want to take a 4-minute break?
Yeah, it's taking a 4-minute break.
Hey, young.
All right, I'm gonna call the meeting back to order.
See if Allison has copy that.
Angela,
Is this mine?
John gave it to me and see if you have.
I have 2 copies. Just
Oh,
make
okay,
sure
yeah, I
you
didn't have one.
All right, so you guys should have.
I brought him up here so you wouldn't.
This one has.
Yeah.
It says
I think it's the same company. I'm not sure what the,
okay.
as you guys recall, in this bid, it's 20 different locations that we had property owners request to go down there. So they were doing a bid opening on all 24. Some of them are in city limits and some of them are out. City limits.
I think given the number here, I don't think we should read them property by property like we have in the past.
You guys can award the lowest bidder. Now, I can go back and do property by property, because you guys need to let me know who I can start with the computer and let, voluntarily sit down. We only have, our grant only has about 146,000 left in it. So I don't know what the bids are.
So we can award the bid today and then make a decision on the 12th on which ones we want to do. Can we
That's
do
up
it
to
that
you
way?
guys.
And the reason being is I'm looking at the bid
Mm-hmm.
and it's more than what we have, so.
But we allocated funds toward that too. I remember.
I mean, that's fine. We do have enough time if you want me to.
That's fine, fine.
Yes. But yeah, you're awarding the one contractor, so you don't have to individually. I will have to do it later, but I don't have to take up. the-
Well, I opened up,
Somebody needs to look at all three of them to make sure they've got all the requirements and stuff before we.
Yeah,
make a
and we
decision.
will, and Brief also does, me and Amy will look at them and make sure, and Brief does there's additional due diligence.
I got, Empire Salvage is 198,863,000, 190,863. Mm-hmm.
Mine is Reclaim Company LLC out of Fairmont. And its estimate is 289,910. Even.
Okay, I have Tom's tear down and takeaway. And they're 175,000 flat.
They would be the lowest, so I just have to make sure they do have their exceptions. That would be the thing.
And their bond and everything.
So before we make a decision, you're gonna make sure everybody has everything they need, is that what you're saying?
I'll
Okay.
sit down
Make a
and,
decision on the 12th.
Yeah, and then I think the commissioners ought to make a decision or talk about and look at which ones we want,
Yeah.
what we got left.
Yeah. And then you'll let Anthony know. Because that one said subject to an agreeable amount.
The one, the 175, which one? So, okay,
No, when we opened them last time. that's
Okay.
what she's talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, I'll go through and look and make sure they have their bid stuff and. And I'll let. you know. That's what I go into another.
Well, we got a half an hour. Do you want to tackle the letter or you still want to do everything at one time? That gives us 30 minutes.
Well, we can start with that stuff, because then well, no, we have to do the mineral hearing.
You have to do, there's a public hearing at 10:15 that you can.
Now, we got 30 minutes of dead time.
Well, let's do vouchers and invoices.
All right. Does the commissioner have any questions on the vouchers and invoices?
Well, I did, Chief Richardson, there were a couple of items for Thrasher, one in the amount of 19,000 something, and the other was 11,000 something. I wondered what those were for. Okay. They're kind of, see here, Gia, did you see those? I just want to make sure it wasn't related to the PER that we already paid.
We don't have any.
Okay,
Just, you don't look at this, Sam.
yeah, if you don't know the answer,
We can just
we'll put it on for next
postpone it till the,
week. Right, next week. I couldn't find it when I was looking for it yesterday.
I'm looking right now.
That's good.
gym equipment.
Now the Thrasher, I'll have to go back and pull back.
Okay.
Specifically see that.
Okay.
I thought I assumed we submitted everything on that.
Is, Jake still here?
I want to talk to you.
You want to wait and post it when you get it?
John.
Well,
Yeah,
do you have any questions on gym equipment or, the Thrasher or anything else?
Yeah, is Jake still here from Loop Creek? Oh, okay, you're taking care of stuff for Loop Creek now? Okay. The reason for a lot of the older invoices is because the other treasurer, the health issues. Okay,
yeah, I noticed there were a lot, and then I started looking at dates and saw they were just getting caught up.
Yeah, and, we're getting, things right now.
Good, well, I appreciate your helping them.
So
So I'll move to approve vouchers and invoices with the exception of the Thrasher reimbursement, pending more information from Chief Richardson. And the gym equipment, which we can discuss at that time.
second, are you done, John?
yeah.
I'm
well, I
sorry.
mean,
Oh,
no,
I'm sorry, Don.
I'll
that's
stop.
it.
I'll stop.
Was that it?
The Thrasher, I thought that we already approved the Thrasher one.
We did for a different Thrasher one.
Yeah, that was
That's
that was
why I had a
59,000.
question. I just didn't
Yeah.
understand.
That was
Okay.
59,000 for
Was
engineering.
it pre-engineering?
Yeah, all right. Okay, go ahead.
My second,
All right.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got 25, we have 30 minutes, 20 minutes.
I would like to take a quick break because I want to talk to Chief Richardson offline.
All right, take a break.
10 minutes.
I want to call the meeting back to order. Sarah?
So, I am here to talk to you about us creating precinct 24. As you guys know, Mount Hope has decided to go on to our county ballot. And so in order to keep that kind of organized, we have decided to put 23, which is our existing precinct, as just city limits. And then we are going to create a new precinct number 24 that will be everything south of city limits in Mount Hope and over to the east. So we're looking at Turkey Knob, a small portion of Mill Creek that is not in city limits, and also Chilton.
Did you guys coordinate with the mayor of Mount Hope at all? Guys,
As far as,
letting them know how you were going to divide things up over there.
I am not 100% sure. You know.
They did request though, right?
Right,
They
they
did request.
requested.
They're the
they'll
ones
come
who
to our
requested it.
ballot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know they
Yeah,
requested
they
it.
requested it, yeah.
Oh, okay. I just, when
That's
it
okay.
hits a municipality, I like to make sure that they are involved because there could be
Yeah.
something weird we're not thinking about. Or they may have an idea for polling place.
So as far as the polling place, Mount Hope, city typically, when they ran their own elections, they ran in Mount Hope Fire Department right along with us, just in another room.
Mhm.
So 24 can actually go in and along with precinct 23.
And we're not worried about any confusion like we had at other places where there were two.
No, I mean, we'll be sending letters and everything to let them know that they are gonna have a new precinct number and that they'll be going to the same place to vote. They'll just have to find precinct 24.
Okay, and precincts, I'm gonna move this other part. Precincts 2 and 16 are now gonna be at the New River Convention Center.
Yes. Lock Alley Baptist was, while they had a handicap entrance into the and where people could go and vote, once you were inside of that building and we set up tables for people to check into, they wouldn't have been able to get a wheelchair through there, along with, there was just not enough room inside of the rooms that we needed. So we made a phone call to New River Convention Center, of which said that they would be more than happy to help us with that. And it's something that's more than using Lock Alley Baptist as a polling place.
Do we have any other precincts with the same limitations for trying to get a wheelchair?
Not that I'm aware of. I just know that Log Valley Baptist was extremely tight when you said that. So
That was also like a last minute,
It
when they
was.
changed the line.
Yeah,
Yeah, to find the other church that was building. I don't remember.
I don't think
I think
they
it had
had room
steps.
for it.
and it may have
Yeah.
had steps going to it too.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly. Okay. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
good.
I move we approve the changes as recommended by the county clerk.
Second, oh, sorry, John.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
You good, Jonathan?
Are you an aye too?
All right, yeah,
I signed one of the copies. That cool? It
Oh,
doesn't have any-
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
That's fine. It's fine. No, this is special paper. You have to sign this.
Well, I didn't see anything that would keep us from.
That's the same thing.
It's going in my shred pile.
I guess another one from you, yeah. Nothing else that can.
Well, I'll raise it during the break. Chief Richardson, they were able to work out that Oak Hill City is going to absorb the cost from that second Thrasher invoice. Thrasher invoiced them late for the initial work that we paid for. And so they reached out to the city manager during the break, and when she said that the city was going to absorb that $19,000 charge.
What was that for?
It was for the same pre-engineering report that we've already
I'm sorry, if we the geotechnical work, the ground board.
Oh, okay.
laying the board.
Thanks for clarifying. I thought it was part of the original thing.
Is that for the upgrade on the fire department?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Let's do 11:15.
Yeah, I don't mind doing that. If there's anybody here, that's a problem. I'm gonna ask for them.
Alan's not gonna be back until, and I don't think Pat.
Or is he coming up?
He's going to back, he's doing some inspections, if not.
No, I meant the pastor.
Pastor.
Yeah, he's gonna, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I think we gotta wait.
Okay, yeah. He's making up for it. Or we could do it, saving it for it.
Well, I mean,
But we won't be able to get him in time. I'm just
yeah,
joking.
I mean, and I agree with it. So I mean,
I do
I
too.
mean, I just like a peaceful meeting,
If you haven't attended one of our meetings before, this usually isn't this bad.
Doesn't happen.
We just had so many public hearings, and when you notice a public hearing, you have to start it when the public shows up. At the time that you advertise, so the public is able to hear whatever the issue is, but we had so many this morning that's causing us to finish soon and then have too many breaks. Oh,
Do you want to just go offline until?
yeah.
If thing, just go offline.
Okay.
I call the meeting back to order. I want to reconvene the Board of the, let me see, the Board of the Equalization and Review
For mineral.
for a mineral hearing, yes. Thank you, Bruce. Is anybody here to speak or put a petition in from,
The state or.
yeah, from Mineral? Eddie?
I have none, thank you.
So there's nothing?
There's nothing, Eddie?
Is the state coming?
They did not come because there was nothing scheduled.
Okay, all right,
So that, we're good?
okay.
Good for today.
There's nobody else here, correct? I make a motion to recess of the Board of Equalization and Review and convene at 9 on February 12th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. At this point, I'm going to move that we go into executive session with council to discuss a document that's on the agenda, Exhibit 4, our response to fire association questions that he drafted on our behalf.
I want to call the meeting back to order. We had a executive session to discuss some legal issues with our lawyer. No decisions was made. Commissioners? I was wanting to start with the response letter, if it's okay with you all.
It's fine with me.
Have y'all both looked over it?
Yeah, that's,
You
yeah.
got Any questions?
Wait, which were the questions?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's the one we just went over in
well, I make a motion to approve.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you approve, John?
Yeah, he said aye.
Amy, we need somebody to make a bunch of copies of this.
Okay.
So all the fire departments and anybody in the room that wants a copy of it can have a copy of it to go over. I think we're gonna have Michael present it and answer all the questions. So somebody need to,
We're gonna get copies. to Anybody who wants a copy, so you can walk through it with us. As he
just so
presents.
just so y'all have one.
Yeah.
What's the,
Copies.
well,
You gotta print the fire response tonight.
Got it.
let's, just to save time, let's just hand out the questions. And we can print it on letterhead and sign it, but it's the same text, so,
Okay, with that letterhead.
yeah.
Yeah, just to get it
to
out there.
expedite it.
Yeah. Y'all want to, approve the letter to the fire departments and the municipalities also, while you get
Yeah.
that?
Yep, so the other letter, Exhibit A, Item 5, is a letter from the commission to the fire departments and municipalities, asking for them to submit an annual budget like every other entity within the county that receives taxpayer money to operate does. And we're going to require same of the library board for anybody who's wondering. As we go through, we learn that we're not doing certain things that we would like to have been doing all along. So this is just one of those things in the process. Every other office within the county does present a budget every year. And that's when, once we approve the budget, that's when everybody will know how much money is available for them to spend. So that's the plan, and we anticipate, but it's up to the municipalities if they want the fire departments to present or if they want to present themselves, since they have their own budget process. But that's, doesn't matter who lets us know what's going on. For any like major purchases, I think, when you have to replace an engine or when you want to build a building or something like that, those are the types of requests that we would like to come through the commission that can be budget adjustments or things like that. It's not going to preclude you from being able to get those things. It's just going to hopefully give us a heads up. But if you know you have an engine you're going to have to replace next year, go ahead and present it to us so we can get that taken care of for you. Our budget presentations are usually in February every year. I move we approve the letter.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
You want to hand that letter to?
No, just one copy we have to sign, and then you'll extra copy for us to have.
Well,
Oh,
all these are different names.
they're just, oh,
They're all different names.
well, that's just sign it. Well, we're gonna send them out. We need copies for all the fire chiefs.
Yeah.
We need to send a letter to each of them.
You get,
These are just. Okay.
okay.
You can, so is everybody okay with them stuff in?
I don't care. What's that?
John? This is good.
I mean, finally,
John's getting me on this thing.
Are they handing them out?
Mhm.
Just,
No, not really.
Yeah, I want to bring John check this for a second. And I have to put my thing.
Hmm?
If John checks time, we'll have anything up with him, we start. Yeah, they'll be done. Yeah, they'll be done. Okay, yeah, they'll. And that's why they're afraid to do that. Because we're gonna do that this year.
nothing in public meeting.
Yeah. Does everybody have a copy?
Okay.
Michael?
You have the ability to pull that up on.
Yeah, put it up there on
I
screen
don't think
there.
he has it.
Well, you can get it. Can you get it? Put it up on the screen.
There's a soft copy. in the email somewhere. No. For this letter, I was trying to figure out how he could pull it up on the screen.
let's let them get it up, Michael, so everybody in the world can see it.
I just need to make sure I pulled the right one. We had so many. Okay. Okay. Email's working today. Thank you, Amy.
So here's the letter. Please allow this correspondence act as a response to the questions submitted to the Fayette County Commission regarding various issues. One, what are chiefs to do about bills, reimbursements, and direct pays after January 31st? Please submit all bills, requests for reimbursement, and other direct pay requests to the deputy county administrator who retired. Our understanding has already been in contact with the discuss the process. The extent that you can contact her, her email is county.gov and her telephone number is 304-574-4244. Question 2. Does the commission intend to submit on the 2024 primary election a call for an excess levy to fund county fire department? What is the time period for the excess levy? The commission has not yet voted on the ballot call for an excess levy. However, this issue will be addressed at an upcoming commission meeting, specifically the February 12, 2024 meeting. Has the county thought about state monies and how to spend any state money? Yes. The county is constantly exploring new sources of money to fund various expenditures. To the extent that you reference what's in the code section 75B1 and 75B2, any funds received will be distributed in accordance with the statute and regulations pertaining thereto. As for accounts for said funds, the funds will be maintained consistent with the rules and regulations set forth by the Secretary of Homeland Security, who oversees regulating and distributing the funds. We are awaiting guidance from the Secretary of Homeland Security regarding acceptable uses for the funds. However, any suggestions for the use of these funds may be sent to the commission in writing.
Can I interrupt you for a second? Since we read the draft of this letter, we learned during executive session from the county administrator that we have received that guidance. We were particularly concerned with guidance for the EMS funds that we received because those are mostly private sector in this county and not public sector. We weren't as concerned with the fire. We think we're probably good with whatever we spend fire levy on that we could spend the state money on. But we already have received some money. How much have we gotten for fire, Ruth? You know, about 170,000 for fire. Okay, so far, that's what we received for the fire service. Thanks.
4. What is the status of the fire? Our fire department to comply with these mandates? The commission has no authority to regulate fire departments, as that authority is vested in the state fire commission. The only authority the commission has related to fire departments is through financial control of the fire excess levy fund. As a result, at this time, the commission does not believe that a full-time fire coordinator is necessary and has eliminated this position. Rather, some job duties of the fire coordinator will be reassigned to other individuals employed by the commission, while other job duties will be eliminated from the commission providing as a service. For example, as discussed above, reimbursement requests will be handled by the deputy county administrator. As it relates to ensuring compliance with legal mandates, this is the sole responsibility of the fire department. The commission supports the efforts of the fire departments to comply with all legal mandates economically and efficiently. It is recommended that the County Fire Association coordinate group testing as this entity was created to address these types of issues. 5, the status of memorandum of understanding. There is no requirement that a memorandum of understanding be executed regarding the distribution of levy funds. In fact, the commission has sole discretion regarding the distribution of the fire levy fund, so long as the distribution follows West Virginia Code 713D. While traditionally the commission has entered into MOU with any fire department regarding the distribution of funds, that outline a process to distribute the fire levy funds, we have been unable to agree on substantive terms. The commission has submitted a proposed MOU to the fire department back in 2022. The MOU was significantly similar to previous MOUs, but had provisions to streamline the distribution of reimbursements of the fire levy fund. To date, no fire department has agreed to sign it or submit a counter MOU despite multiple meetings to discuss the MOU. As a result, at this juncture, the commission intends to distribute the fire levy fund based upon applications for reimbursement of fire levy funds through the commission's request for reimbursement process that applies to all other requests for reimbursements by any other entity or agency.
Let me stop you there too. And this is outside of the budget. You know, once a budget is approved, any funds that are needed that are outside of what we've approved in your budget would need to come through here, not every single little thing like happens now. So that's a distinction there. Okay.
Will the commission support the use of fire levy funds to replace both engine and ladder apparatus? The commission will distribute fire levy funds to items that are consistent with West Virginia Code 713D, which is to erect, maintain, and operate fire stations. This includes reasonable replacements of engine and ladder apparatus. The requests for reimbursement that fall within this parameter will be considered and voted upon by the commission. The commission cannot commit to any specific expenditure without a request and supporting evidence for the request. That is correct.
And you said there was an attorney general opinion related
Well,
to this,
so-
right?
So as we talked about with the fire departments before, the way that the commission divvies out funding money is they cannot pre-approve. They cannot just give basically a blank amount of money. Here's $150,000 for a fire department to the attorney general opinion that the distribution of levy excess fund has to be consistent with how the commission distributes all other funds. And that is through a request and then an approval on the specific expenditure.
Well, I'd like, before we open up for questions, I'd like to make a motion that we limit each speaker to 3 minutes just for sake of efficiency, because there's a lot here.
Second.
All in favor?
And I'll keep let me get my timer up.
Anybody want to speak?
Or any questions or anything?
Yeah.
In regard to the dialogue for engine and aerial replacement, I assume y'all are somewhat familiar with the request that has come through that the distribution through a levy period would be to maybe as 3 or 4 fire departments, for instance. There is a formula that the Fire Association has worked through for fire departments to qualify for those designations. Would the commission honor that guideline from the Fire Association in regard to recommendations for distributions?
I would like to look at it. I
Yeah.
can't make a decision on it. I mean, I would like to see it. I mean, I think I've asked for it before and somebody was supposed to get it to me, but I mean, if you can get it to us, I mean, I think that I would.
Yeah, I mean, we're not the experts,
Yeah,
so I
well,
mean, any
I would say-
recommendations?
We're in a current distribution as we do every levy. And I assume that y'all still already have that information, but I just wanted to ask if that would be a dialogue we could enter into to submit to the commission for review. You know, a qualification for each department that has interest in replacing an engine or an aerial.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm open to it for sure.
Stephanie, have that document?
Well,
I didn't have.
could you, somebody make a copy of this, Ruth, or You give it to the commission.
When you come up, one to Ruth, one to Wes. No, actually six, give one to Michael. Seven. One to Michael.
Can we, I guess we can still ask if anybody has any questions while he's gone, can we? Still operating, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else have any other questions or concerns or for the commission?
If you meet as a group, fire association meets and you have some questions, we can always put you back on to ask them, or if you want to submit them in writing, and get you an answer. Either way.
There's no more questions?
Chief.
In our, well, number 5, about memorandum of understanding,
Mhm.
that came from our meeting with your attorney, where we were questioning whether or not we need contracts. That's what continued the story, that we do not have memorandum of understanding to that contract. He advised us that there's nothing in state law that requires a contract. And as actually his suggestion, look at signing a memorandum of understanding. We've never got the original MOU. What we got was a revised contract. Matter of fact, Fred was signed there, the mayor signed it, sent it back years ago when all this started. So, from my understanding now that not interested in any type of an MOU, the only reason that we brought this up was so that we have some idea of what funding each department would have for the future. And it sounds like you're supplementing the MOU with us submitting a budget that you did approve. Then that basically would be MOU. So you're going to fund us for this amount of money per year based on the approved budget. Okay, now what we need to submit invoices from that budget to be approved to you also, or just invoices outside of that budget?
Outside that budget, in my view, I mean.
Yeah.
Just invoices outside the budget.
Yeah. So
I don't see if Mike.
as a clarification, I think you're calling it a contract. I think we're calling it an MOU. And so I think we're talking about the same document. The document that, maybe Fayetteville signed at some point, under state law, contracts with governmental entities are only valid for 1 year. So if that contract was signed 10 years ago, it's no longer in effect. So we're talking about the same document. We're calling it a memorandum of understanding. It's not really contract with no consideration for it. So it's really more of an outline of understanding, memorandum of understanding regarding the terms of distribution. So that's what we're talking about.
Would that be on a physical year basis?
On a fiscal year, yeah. Yeah. I mean, in theory, it could be any 1 year period. It would make sense to do it on a fiscal year basis because we're talking
When
about
we do the rest of the budget.
a budget year. Yeah. So
Yeah.
When would we need to have that in?
Well, here's the rub. Here now, February is our month of budgeting. If you can get it in February, please do. If you can't, we might be able to give you a little grace into March, but we'd like to start it right away because, I mean, it's too cumbersome the way you guys are doing it now and the way we're doing it now. We'd like to, let you run your departments and then just get involved in the big stuff. Like when you come in with something extraordinary, or if you have something terrible happen to one of your vehicles that you have to replace or something like that, but we don't want to have to nickel and dime every expenditure either. If it's in your budget, then you kind of like the sheriff's budget, we give him a budget and he spends within that budget. If he needs something else, he comes in.
I know that deal with the city budget, we have to move monies between line items. That's not really a big deal. We do not have to go, we don't have to get permission for that. Is that true with y'all? How y'all work your budget?
Ruth.
We have,
it'll be slightly different in the sense that the fire levy funds have to be used for maintain and erect the fire station. So sure, yes, as long as if you do move money and it's within the parameter of that, some sort of some sort of justification for that.
Much simpler, I'm talking about if we have budgeted for electricity this much, and we have to spend more, so if we have money for gas and move it up.
Correct, right, but as long as it's being within that realm, it should be okay, but if you're gonna.
No,
put
he's just wanting to know if it's
money
okay
around,
to do it.
you know, for. To buy, I don't know, something outside of the, by operating a fire station, then that would be a problem.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Yeah, we just have a bottom line, like each of you guys have like.
One bottom line.
Right, and then what y'all are doing with it in the middle. Now, but I think you'll still have to submit invoices for reimbursement, because if not, I can just hear the auditor, like when you do your reimbursement, to show, because they're going to ask what that's for.
That's the reason I asked.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I was wrong. You
Yeah.
could have stopped me, girl.
Yeah,
All right.
well, I'm trying to payroll and listening, sorry.
Okay.
But
So,
you still have to submit it with your reimbursement, because it's almost guaranteed the auditor's going to pull the fire invoices every time, so. Yeah. But you still have to submit those reimbursements, unless y'all are gonna change the reimbursement process, but I don't think that's what you're doing, so. You still have to.
well, how does it,
Invoice back up, basically.
but how is it gonna, I thought this was supposed to streamline.
Depends on how we do it. We've talked about it 2 or 3 different ways because we haven't ever been presented a budget.
Right.
Talked about a few different ways because we couldn't get presented budgets.
Well, when they present their budgets, I would like to discuss that, because I want to make sure that it's, you know, and I know you guys too, want to make sure that it's not as cumbersome as it is now.
I mean, to me, the streamlining is fine, but there's never even been a budget presented to us. So I mean, that, we was trying to work to make it easier by just reimbursements. So I mean, we talked about 2 or 3 different ways. So.
And at the end of the day, what it has to be, and what Ruth's talking about, is when you spend money from the fire levy, there has to be some documents of what it is you.
I'm very familiar, because we go through the same thing through the town of Fayette.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So the process would be, as long as if there's documentation that's submitted, it'll be streamed. But then the extraordinary expenses that are kind of outside of what would be budgeted for, you know, you have a truck that breaks down, you buy the truck. So, you know, we'd likely need to submit that.
We'll see.
That would be an extraordinary expense
Outside of that.
outside
When
of
they
the
do their
budget that would need to be
Yep.
submitted through the typical process of, you know, pre-approval, you know, if it's over a certain amount.
Well, and you know, and it's up to, for you fire chiefs who have a municipality in your chain of command, it's up to you to work with them to figure out who's going to present the budget. I mean, if it's better for them to do it, you know, with you present or whatever you think makes sense for you. Because I know that you already are put through, you know, the ringer in your municipalities. So, you know, those city managers or whoever they decide can present also on your behalf. You saw Eddie's thing today. You submit the budget, we take a look at it, we talk to the county administrator, crunch numbers, and then we make a decision a couple weeks later. So that's usually how it works for us. So everybody comes in and pitches what they, you know, and I welcome you to listen to some of these budget presentations, but they come in, I mean, especially Sheriff, he'll come in usually and, you know, pitch for raises and all these other things. So if there are things on your dream sheet, on your dream list that you want to put in there, I mean, put them in there, you know, and then we'll look and see what, you know, what we can do in light of what all the fire department's needs are and that sort of thing. But we'll have a hearing on, I mean, that's not something that's just, we're gonna randomly make decisions on.
So you want one overall budget proposal, or you want to have 6?
I'd like to have individuals.
Yeah.
I can't answer both commissioners,
Because-
but I'd like to have individuals.
They need to schedule time with us to come present. But the municipalities are different because they have funding through their municipalities as well, where, you know, Loop Creek and Armstrong Creek, they don't have that. So that's the reason we want one from everybody, because the municipalities that, the 4 that have fire departments within the municipalities are different. They have a different set of funding sources than these other smaller departments.
And to touch on what Mr. Taylor said earlier, the budget is good for 1 year. There's no carryover to other years. Some of the requests or some of the request that we have for funding has something at the bottom that says, hey, we've got $800 and some $1,000 because it's been over budgeted for. So those are no longer there.
But you guys have your association. I mean, for things like this that you gave us a copy of and about your pumpers and everything. I mean, I'm wide open to recommendations like this because we don't have the expertise. I mean, you guys as association may say, Oak Hill has this engine, you know, that has a little bit of mileage left on it and maybe another fire department be interested in it. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I
Well, it
can throw
actually
that out
says the association actually makes a decision on this, correct? So I mean, it
So-
really, this it doesn't do us any good if the association makes a decision, because the association is gonna make the decision and then present it to the commission. Would that be correct or
Well,
not?
I think it's their recommendations on, am I right?
It's a formula that, you know, you break down, age of an engine, mileage, you know, pumping hours, and it qualifies.
But does the association make the decision between the fire departments?
Well, that's always been pushed up to the fire service coordinator, and the fire service coordinator has brought the determination to the county commission stating these departments qualify.
I'm just curious. It says, Fayette County Fires Association.
I mean, so since we don't have a fire coordinator, I would anticipate that the fire association would make that representation to us instead.
If the commission would recognize that body, just send that recommendation forward.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It would be best in the case that happens, though, if somebody from the fire department's involved or present too, just so they have notice and are able to, like, if somebody had an objection, the fire association didn't agree on something or something that everybody who had a stake in the decision were present, but that's the only thing I would ask. Just because we get in here sometimes with PSDs and find out the board doesn't have notice when somebody's complaining or offering to take them over and stuff, and we just want to make sure everybody has notice and the chance to speak, especially if they dissent.
Any other questions?
Like, be aware on the, when we do a major, truck purchase, we've got to combine when we get volume discounts. You can only buy so many, but, traditionally, that money has been allocated over the life of the left, and all that come in the first year.
Right.
And with the trucks, there's, you know, an agreement that we're gonna fund this so much a year, and it wasn't the total cost of the truck. But, what the levy contributed toward that truck was over. Like this current time is $45,000 dollars a year. Well, that's not half the price of the pumper, but that's how much that was allocated out of the levy. And I realize that that's like a lease purchase agreement, which is about the only way the county say they can commit over a period of time. But that's one of the issues there, and that has to be, should be in a consideration. That's up to the world through.
Anybody else?
Let's go on number 4. It says some job duties of fire coordinator will be reassigned to other individuals. And I know that you know where to submit our request for invoices, but could you give us a list of what other job duties that are going to be assigned and reassigned to which individuals?
Well, I mean, that's it, because we found, I mean, we had 2 people employed, Mr. Cruikshank and previously Joe, and Becky, who were working on these invoices, and they still had to come ultimately and work stuff out with Gia and Ruth. So, you know, to us, assigning Gia to do the reimbursements, which is really our function, you know, as a commission, our employees are just trying to administer the taxpayer dollars, and any other function a previous fire coordinator had, we would refer that to the fire association to determine if it needed somebody to coordinate, testing and the kinds of things you guys have presented to us in the past. And if the fire association, does coordinate that and comes in, if it's not in your individual budgets to put toward, it can always come into the commission and ask to reimburse for testing.
Okay, I understand that, this was separate from what you said about the reimbursement. This line just said the other job duties, so there's no other job duties.
No, just the reimbursements at this time. I mean, if it comes down the road and we notice a gaping hole in our process, we can always reevaluate that, but that's right now, our responsibility as commission is just to administer the money. Any substantive expertise would have to come from you guys and the people you elect in your association.
Anybody else?
No, there's a lot of stuff we do, like, I know it's been brought up before, is setting up host testing, pump testing, truck maintenance, that all had to be coordinated with one person to get that done. And now we have nobody. I mean, how we gonna function?
Well, in our view, that's the responsibility of the fire association to identify somebody to do that. Even if you needed to, I'm just gonna, I don't know how it all works, but even if you had to hire somebody temporary to do that for you once a year or something, that's an expense you can come to request reimbursement for, as an association. But we just, in all the time that I've been here, there was not enough work for a full-time person in that position, especially, and we had 2 full-time people in that position for some time. And there was a lot of redundancy and it wasn't efficient. So, we're not the experts. The county commission, as you know, all the authority in how to run a fire department is up to the fire chiefs and the state commission and has nothing to do with us. So, if the fire association comes up with a solution to get bulk discounts for that sort of thing and comes to us and presents, whatever funding you need and backs it up, I mean, I foresee us approving it. I mean, we wouldn't have a reason not to.
Right now, we're lucky because we got a guy that's retired as a president. But if we would let somebody that's still working, I mean, they gotta work their job, they don't have time to work all day doing these contracts. You get a lot of free labor, that's it, the volunteer firemen.
Should the association present a budget?
I mean, I think that's what she
I
basically
mean,
said.
That's what I kind of heard.
Yeah.
Should the association present a budget for these types of possible expenses? What you're talking about us possibly having to hire somebody to coordinate this, or, because if we're going out developing contracts with these people, we're not contracts, we're trying to hire somebody to do all those testing. We have to know we're gonna have the money paid them after we go through all that, so.
It would make sense if
we do that.
If I mean, you probably already know what this stuff costs. Yes, if you put something together, I think that would be the most efficient way to have that, make sure those funds are available. But I can tell you that we know that's something that has to be done. We've always approved it. I mean, I don't foresee denying that, type of expense, because that's something you have to do to operate. It's permissible and proper under the fire levy. Brad?
Yeah, I think something that is important to keep in mind is these are these are volunteer fire departments. They volunteer their time. They're not paid employees of the county or anybody. I mean, I used to be on a volunteer rescue squad down in North Carolina. I don't know how many thousands of dollars I spent in fuel just making calls like these guys do. And so I'm a little frustrated as a citizen that they're getting more put on them. With the county that's growing, having more demands with the national park designation, everything, with that they're putting more demands on them to do that. When you had someone in place that was working, and I'm sorry, like it was working for a long time, something ain't broke, don't go fixing it. And I'm trying to understand why they're getting more work put on them with less funds and more bureaucracy. These guys need more time training than they do sitting back pushing paper. And I think it's just, the county has You guys spent $2 million on Wolf Creek Park paying that off and took 10% of the county's budget. I don't know what the cost projection was for this employee. But you guys can find money for that. You can find it for these guys, which is a whole lot more, and you guys should be ashamed of yourselves for trying to take away from these people.
Anyone else?
Is there any thought on like the special operations that we have in the county? I mean, is that gonna fall under each individual fire department for their budgets?
How do those work now, the special teams? Like, this is the kind of information we need to have presented. I mean, I know that, you know, I know a couple of the fire departments that are involved in those water rescues and high altitude rescues, but
Put something out of the general fire levy, not out of individual departments.
So
that was something the fire association could come forward with if the departments didn't want to budget for it. But certain departments do respond to just about every, you know, one of those. I mean, I know Fayetteville, Oak Hill, and Anstead are almost always involved in those sorts of things, and usually the local fire department. So, we're going to rely on you to tell us how, you know, how to fund that. I mean, if you want to come in with what you know are your expenses every year and departments that are always involved, you can do that. And if there's any excess or general things, like when you have to buy PFDs for a bunch of people, you know, you can come in and ask for that. And there's no limit. I mean, you can present that in your budget, but there's no reason why you can't get on. I mean, we're not going to withhold critical equipment from a fire department. We'll get you on the agenda and get it processed.
and I guess when we go back to our association and trying to figure out, well, you know, does the training center need to submit an extra budget? I mean, there's a lot of.
To me,
There's a lot of moving wheels to this situation. It ain't one sheriff's department.
To me, I think it should, and that's all we've ever asked for is somebody present us a budget since 2022. I mean, I'm just, you know, everybody's frustrated, but.
They didn't ask for a budget. I asked.
Well, I think the commission has asked for a budget presentation I mean, that's all we've talked about. So, I mean,
I'm just trying to figure out what to tell them.
If
How
I-
many, you know, when you 15 fire departments plus the association plus the training center. I'm just trying to.
well,
So I know where to go.
I think the training center should put in a budget and the people need to know what's spent out there. I think it should be. I think it should be.
Line height.
Is that it? Any other questions or comments?
Like to just make a comment on item number 2. I know you're gonna take this out on the February 12th meeting. We feel all critical with the fire association that the county fire levy is presented on the primary election call. And our reasoning for that is if it does not pass in the primary election, it's the opportunity to rerun it.
Right, in the general, well, I'll let you know.
Absolutely.
Sir, the reason we couldn't answer that in a question is because we haven't had it in a public meeting and haven't had the opportunity to vote on it yet, so we're not allowed to discuss, but we can all tell you individually. I mean, I'm inclined to vote to put it on the primary. I understand the implications. I support the levy. And I'll let my colleagues
I
speak
mean,
for
I support the
themselves.
levy also. I plan on putting on primary.
So-
Put on the primary.
Yeah, that was a technicality. We can't answer that question because we're not allowed to, the majority is allowed to discuss what we're voting on. That's all. So now you know all 3 commissioners do support the levy and putting it on the primary. So, but we can't officially vote on it until we give public notice and we do it on
And
the
I think
next
I
meeting.
have individually said it to other firemen, fire chiefs before. They've asked me and I've told them I do support it. So, you know.
So that's just one of those things that, you know, we have to vote on, but we always presume we're gonna do it, you know.
What's the deadline for setting that for the deal?
The February meetings.
The 12th is when,
We have the 12th, I mean, but for them, their budget presentations.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the 12th and the 16th, we have meetings. I really think, you know, I know the bigger municipalities probably already have this stuff put together for their municipalities, but if you smaller fire departments need more time, we can try to fit them in March. We have one on the 6th. Or, I mean, I can't decide by myself, but
So
I know you want them all in, he wants them all in February. We could set an additional meeting.
It does,
February.
it does,
the fire levy budget does not go to the state anyway.
Okay, so it does,
it was
The
always,
general county and coal severance is limited.
yeah, it was
but the
always,
Fire levy itself doesn't have to be done at the end.
it was always different. They always come later and,
They did.
yeah, later. So I mean, it doesn't matter as long as it's before March.
we have one before March. That's. I think that gives them a lot
March,
of time.
okay, March, whatever, it does matter, whatever.
We
you
have
say.
4 meetings in March. We're meeting
We
every
can't make
week
a
in March.
decision anyway.
And the next 2 meetings in February are the 12th and the 16th. So I'd say just do your best to get on one of those. I mean, we just sent the letter out today. So,
I'd like to make one more comment.
sure.
And it's really, they're probably close to 1,000 years buying experience with fire service, working with this levy since it was started in 1982, 81. No commission before has ever found a problem. We don't know what the problems are, because it's like y'all trying to fix something that wasn't broke. We've never been over budget. We've never operated in the red. That's just my comment.
This is not about whether there's a problem. It's about transparency for spending of public funds. The excess levy, as you know, is above and beyond the regular taxes that people within the county have to do. And I don't know, I'm sure the municipalities know this, but whenever the fire levy that's fed by all the taxpayers in the entire county buys something for a municipality, it then becomes the property of the municipality. So you have to look at, and they're receiving funding from their municipality. So we have to look at the big picture and make sure, you know, that the public knows where these excess tax dollars are going. And there just wasn't and we've changed a lot of things. It's not just, I've said it before, but I don't think anybody took it to heart. It's not just with the fire service. I mean, we're requiring, you know, we're all over the humane societies and our URA and other groups that were traditionally given a lot of rope. And we want to see where the money's going. We want to be able to show the taxpayers where the money's going. Well, and we would like there to be budgets because, I mean, you may remember a meeting ago, you know, we had Oak Hill didn't realize we wanted to approve big expenditures through the commission, and they did everything they've always done. They did it right. They went through their municipality, but this commission wants to know before we spend, you know, $54,000 on a pre-engineering report, because your department might have needed something that money should have gone to, and we might not have had everything we needed. I mean, we want to get the process right, so it's always fair. Now, again, they did it exactly like they were supposed to do and how they've done it, you know, for decades, but it's county taxpayer dollars that we're spending, not municipal taxpayer dollars that we're spending. And that's the reason this commission wants to know where the money's going. That's just it.
I mean, to me, it's transparency is all it is. I don't think you're gonna take it the wrong way, but when you submit the invoices to the county, the public don't get to see the invoices. When you present a budget in front of the commission and that little screen right there, they'll actually get to see where that money's going and questions may be asked, so they know where their tax dollars is going. It's not trying to be mean, it's just transparency is what it is. I mean, and getting back to the 59,000, if they would have been 10, I'm not saying all of you would have done it, but if we don't know where the money's going and how much it is, if we'd have had 10 invoices for $59,000 through that year, the budget would not have handled that. And I know I'm going above and beyond of what it would be, but I mean, you have to have a budget in order to allocate money efficiently. And you know, And I apologize, but that's the way I feel about it. Transparency is a big deal to me.
Well, and I'll add too that we know the municipalities respond to fires within the county limits and not just in the city limits. So they need the funding they get. I wasn't suggesting that they're fully funded or even partially well-funded through their municipalities. They just have another source of income. But they do, if we were to buy a building for a municipality, that will belong to the municipality. And so the whole county will have paid for it. So we just want to make sure those are fair expenditures on the overarching questions that it's benefiting. And in the case of this, I know that department responds to fires and rescues all over the county, so. It is. Yes, sir. Chief.
The spreadsheet that was submitted to the commission, have you had an opportunity to look at that?
Oh, yeah, we're gonna talk.
We're gonna
about-
let Josh
Hey,
present on that. We're
we're gonna
still
talk
working
about-
on the.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just making sure
Any
you all had all your questions answered before we go to Josh.
Brad,
It sounds like this is a lot less about transparency, and sounds more like the commission wants more control. Commission, if you guys want to be transparent, you guys, like, with the last couple of months, had a meeting that lasted, emergency meeting with less than 2 hours of notice. That in a 42-second long meeting done over a Zoom call, agreed to spend $2 million. And so, on that, which, that's a whole nother thing, but it doesn't seem like if you're really concerned about transparency, you can be a lot more transparent about a lot of other things. I think it's really about you guys wanting control over the fire departments, is what it is. Quite frankly, put your stink on it.
well, you're right that we want control over it because that's our job. That's our responsibility by statute. So when we have to oversee the expenditure of taxpayer funds. That's one of the primary things the commission does. And if you're suggesting that we should put blinders on and just allow the spending to go willy-nilly as it has in the past, where we bought a farm we didn't need and a bunch of other things that we shouldn't have done, or property that we sat on and didn't advertise, that's not going to happen with me. It's just not.
Just spent $2 million paying off the loan balance of the URA.
We certainly did because
How is that transparent?
because we think we can turn that around, develop that property and get some tax dollars in here rather than use a developer that had withdrawn.
From the public.
Pardon me?
Why was it done in an emergency meeting in less than 2 hours?
Because of the expiry of the contract, there were legal considerations.
42 seconds. You decided 42 seconds.
Well, and what we did was legal and it wasn't,
Entire fire budget.
and it wasn't intended to be sneaky. It was because there was an expiration. The loan had come due to the state. And if we were going to make a move when those people moved out of the contract to pay off the state loans before they foreclosed on the property, we had to move very quickly. And that's why we did it. So, but
That's what happened.
that's not on the agenda. So if you want to put it on the agenda for an additional time okay, so anybody else?
Yes. I just make a comment on transparency. I just want you to know that as fire departments, we go through several checks and balances for the funds we spend. So in addition to operational audits, which are more by the state fire marshal's office to make sure that our fire departments have the equipment and training to operate. We also have audits by the insurance service office, which come in and do that as well. But financially, we are audited yearly for insurance funds by the state House Legislative Audit Committee. And now we are also across all funds audited by the state auditor's office. So there's a lot of transparency in what we do, maybe a different definition in what you're looking for. But I don't want the public to misunderstand.
No,
We
and
have a lot of transparency in what we do already.
well, and you have the auditor's open checkbook requirement that's come on also. So you have all of that stuff. We're not suggesting you haven't been transparent. We're suggesting that we need to be better informed about how the levy funding is spent because it's our responsibility to oversee it. That's all. We're not saying you trying to hide the ball. Nobody's trying to hide the ball. It's not because any fire department did anything wrong. It's because we are trying to be more fiscally responsible as a commission and make sure all money, whether it's fire levy, whether it's Wolf Creek Park or whatever. Wolf Creek Park had been on our agenda many, many times before. So it's not like that was a sneaky thing. And that was because of legal considerations. But anyway, nobody's accusing any fire department of having done anything wrong or tried to do something they weren't supposed to do. We know you're audited to death.
I just wanted to clarify for the public that's listening out there.
Yep.
We go through a lot of different checks and balances.
You do, and from several different departments, probably too many. But our purpose is so we can understand it, where the money's going, because we are responsible for approving its expenditure. That's it. Has nothing to do with anybody doing anything wrong.
How many fire departments have registered on the West Virginia checkbook? One.
Our family, that's part of the family.
I don't think they have the deadline yet, hit the deadline yet.
Yeah, you guys are aware that there is gonna be a deadline coming, that you have to be registered on there. So,
Doing
please
what?
consider working on that West Virginia checkbook.
When's the deadline?
I don't know what the deadline
I don't know what
is.
the deadline is. I know it was coming with,
I think next year we will have,
Oh, that
Yeah.
long?
yeah.
it was in that.
As far as the budget presentations go, you want the fire departments to use the, I think you have an agenda request for them, if you want them to use that.
Hey, Ruth,
I want the 16 showing up.
what would be better for them to use for the presentation?
To request agenda time for their presentation.
Take the form, I mean, we have the agenda
You want me to
request one.
just give every department form?
Or could they just call in and get their time? I mean, in this case, because we know what it's for, the budget. It's not like a
So
random.
Make everybody else do it.
Yep.
That's entirely up to y'all.
Yeah,
That's how we track.
we made everybody else do it.
Including Tom.
If we've got something that says this is the way you do it, then that's not a problem.
Well, I appreciate it, Mr. Cruikshank.
You want to let Josh?
Well, I'm gonna make sure there's no other questions out there.
Pardon me?
Park County Commission, or Park, is made for the fire department. Best I can remember, y'all can't spend none of it for anything else. What are you gonna do with the excess that you're not wanting to pay us? That's what I want to know.
Well, it's not a matter of not wanting to pay you. If there's a legitimate expense for it.
It's, money we have accumulated over, like I said, about 40 years worth of, now the county lets us, used to let us spend our money to do our work with. We have a training center down there that needs a lot of stuff done. And I best I can remember, they were turned down on doing a lot of that because of our excess money. But so y'all want the interest off of it.
To be honest with you, I think the reason the fire training center didn't move forward is because there wasn't the engineering and had to go through the fire marshal, and the fire marshal, correct me if I'm wrong, the fire marshal did not sign off on it. I think that's why that didn't move forward. I mean, I can pull the minutes up and see, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
But this, I mean, this is an excess tax. So if we find that we are spending more than we need, we have a duty to the taxpayer to adjust those numbers. And so, you know, it's just like, and we told all the county offices when they started their budget process, like, we're not going to be one of those commissions that reward you for spending all your money if you don't have a reason to spend it. We're more likely to reward you and remember you next year when you want to give raises when you didn't spend all your budget, you know? And so, I mean, that's a reality of it. This is a tax that the people of Fayette County have voted to implement for good reason. We would not have a fire service if we did not have the levy. But it is not fair for us to tax them more than we need to.
But just to be clear, the money that we have in that account, I think what Mr. Bush is talking about, it's not going away.
You can't do
No.
nothing with it. No, we can pay fire department.
But we can use that money to fund the training center if we wanna, I mean, it's not going
Well,
away.
and
It has to come before the commission, but we can't spend it on anything else but fire service. I
Right.
mean,
But I mean, it's gonna be there. that's what we're just.
right, it's not, I mean, we
It's
don't
not going
spend it,
away.
it
We
stays.
can't- we can't do anything. At the
Yeah,
way
it
it's
stays in the
allocated,
account.
Right.
we can't do anything else with it. I mean, I think we've said that from the beginning. I mean, we can't do anything else with it.
Right, this is what it's for and this is what it gets spent on, period. And each of the levies, whether it's library, fire, or law enforcement, they're all separate. So, funds don't get transferred among them or anything like that.
You said something about raises, every year. I don't know if any of us ever asked you for a raise. The park commissioner over the years, we call it cost of living, would give us a raise, but we never asked for it. We
Well-
were allotted a certain amount of money the first year later, and it's been like that for years.
I know Commissioner Luisos made a proposal to open up, request to the fire chiefs, the option to reimburse, firefighters per call. And I think that's something we're going to address when the levy comes about. I mean, I support that. I understand that each fire department has to run a certain way and, you'll have to decide whether you have the resources to administer that. But all we would do is just decide whether to give you the overarching okay to ask for reimbursement for that is all. So that's what that was about. I mean, none of us sneezes at the fact that, I know Oak Hill has several calls a weekend recently. Didn't you, like a couple weeks ago? You guys had several fires like back to back that you responded to. And I mean, I just can't imagine. I know that, people get 2 days off a week at best and you're spending all your free time fighting fires. So we definitely don't want to make them feel unappreciated or underappreciated. So if you think, if you have the room in your budget and the mechanism to put in place to reimburse people per call, we're wide open to accept that. I mean, I can speak for myself and it was his idea, so.
Can I ask you one other question?
Yes, sir.
How much, extra paperwork that's gonna put on these little fire departments that don't have enough people first of all?
For what, which one?
For money, paying, that you suggest, paying fire department, personnel for running.
Well, I did make it.
Our fire department don't want it in the first place.
Well, I mean, I made a suggestion to Josh and a few other chiefs, and I said, it's up to you all. I mean, I think I said that in the very beginning. The commission cannot regulate whether y'all want to pay anybody or not. We cannot regulate how to do it. I made a suggestion to do it, and if you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it.
Well, and he's asking, because they would have to process that payroll.
Well,
I think he's asking.
And I told Josh how to do it. I said, all the fire departments can pay somebody to do all the fire departments. I don't remember the process.
Yeah, you could hire a payroll service or
I
something
mean,
like
if
that
you
and
wanted to
handle that sort
allocate
of
it,
thing for
if you
you
wanted to allocate
and ask for
it.
reimbursement through the fire
I mean, that's-
association or the fire department you put in your budget. I
But if
mean,
But if you don't think it's there, it's not there. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's y'all's call on that.
but if you want to do it, that's a permissible, if this commission approves that idea, we haven't voted on it yet, but if the commission approves that idea, you guys can always budget to use a payroll service to do that for you, or, have the fire association come and say, all the departments are going to use this one payroll service to do this. I mean, you have options. And we're just saying that we're open to approving that sort of thing to help reimburse people what will only amount to a fraction of their expense. But it'd be better than nothing, I'm sure.
Any other questions? Anybody?
Okay, I'm good. Mr. Davis?
Josh?
Before Josh gets started, I'd like to congratulate Montgomery, Smithers, and Oak Hill Fire Departments on the recognition they received for swift water rescue.
Amy's not here. Hey, Ruth. Can you pull up so the people can see Josh's projection?
Well, he doesn't have it.
Well, no, I'm sorry. It's a spreadsheet.
Well, it's a yearly expenditure
No.
overview.
There you go.
Apparently, October, Mr. Brennan asked for that. I know we've got a lot of talk about people's asked for this, people's asked for that, but nobody's trying to, well, we're trying here. I mean, that's all I can tell you is I'm trying to get you what all we can have. And I mean,
Now, Josh, are you in the, on the board of the fire
I'm the
association?
vice president of the Firemen's Association. I'm also a member at Fayetteville Fire Department.
Okay.
I'm a member.
Oh, I
of
knew you
all
were with
the
Fayetteville. I
water
just-
teams and all that.
Okay, just for the record, I wanted to make sure people understood.
Sure.
Amy, could you, what Josh sent us the other day, could you,
You pull it
so
up
they can pull it up online? And I just got one question.
Sure.
I don't know what the other commissioners have, but I got
This
one
one.
question.
I blew it up.
I need to figure it out. I can zoom it in here.
Oh, that was already in.
Did I hear?
No, not
I
yet.
think you had two or something, because I know I screwed up and sent two in the room.
No, we had two copies.
We had two copies of the same thing.
Well,
Yeah.
in our
they
packet.
was, like I say, I sent one, Danny's wasn't right. And on Monday, when I sent all that in, but I think it's right now. They
Okay.
were just abbreviated numbers. If Danny's is. Yeah, they're-
Ultimately, it will only, once they present and they come in, this is just to give us an idea.
yeah, I was trying to get it on the agenda
Oh, never mind.
the same day my father-in-law passed away, so I had a lot going on.
Glasses don't work for that.
Oh, your wife, I said, I know.
Go ahead.
Ruth, did you send it to my new email?
There's none on this.
It says it's. Will you send it to wb.gov? Will you send it to wb.gov?
Was we supposed to get another letter too, the number 5? Is there another letter coming out or no?
There was
Or is that
two.
just Fayetteville?
There was one to all the chiefs about a budget, and then there was one answering all your questions.
Right, the number 5 though, said something about a shared budget with the municipalities.
Oh, that's in the letter.
Is that another letter? That's what I'm
There's
asking.
there's a letter, but it goes also to the fire
Well,
departments too.
it's probably.
Okay.
You should.
I didn't get it.
Here, John, you got a copy of that letter?
And that's fine. I just didn't see it, so I didn't. Oh, I got it. Is that it? Thank you. What you do. Right.
Yeah, well, I hope it was the right one. Oh, where she separated the lines. Yeah. I said the same thing. She separated the lines. And it's, I hope it's the right one.
Thank you. That's the right one.
Well, John said it may not be the right one. I thought the letter he gave you.
The letter?
Yeah, it may not have been the correct one. The one that we signed. Here.
Is this the?
Oh, that's what that's what, but we haven't handed that out yet. No.
Oh, that's why I haven't got it yet.
Yeah.
right.
I'm gonna be sending it to the fire chief.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can I get a copy of that too?
whenever, yeah, we'll get you a
Okay.
copy, yeah.
No.
I mean, that's the one I gave
I
you.
thought your email address now, thanks, I'll make sure. you have it.
Good deal, thanks.
It may have been. Is this the one you gave me back?
Yeah,
Okay.
he just,
Yeah.
I just
We'll
showed
get
her.
you, before you leave, we'll get you,
I can email
the
too.
right
That's fine, email's fine.
can you have a signed copy?
We haven't done the one to the fire chief, so I'm gonna have to do that after the meeting.
Okay, that's right. We
Yes, we only did it to-
we voted for it, but we haven't, okay.
Do you want that to
Every fire chief in the county. No,
Okay,
every
got
one in the county.
Okay.
But you'll get one too here.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get you one too.
I guess I'll make sure he gets it.
You got that? Oh, hey. All right, sure.
That's fine, that's fine.
All right,
I'll definitely make sure
Josh?
I get it right.
you ready? I got,
So what,
go ahead.
what you all asked for in the October meeting was a yearly account overview, or what we spend as every fire department. And this is if the municipality put money in, if the, state money, whatever, this is what they spent last year. Now, I took what y'all wanted. I'm not the auditor. I didn't go to each individual department and get this. I sent them, as you can see, there's a tab down there for a template. What I sent them.
that kind of falls under the, I think it's called attachment A in our old contract. And it's pretty much what we could use it for in it, so. It took a little bit of time to get it all back, but I mean, this is, and the ones that gave me a breakdown of what they spent state. What they spent out of the levy, I put it on there too, so you can see it, but. The other departments that didn't, it shouldn't be hard to figure out what they spent out of state, just look how much they spent in the levy and the rest of it was spent out of state. I mean, that's,
Well, I mean, all of them's about 60,000 apiece a year.
yes, I mean, but I mean, they didn't have,
Yeah.
whatever that, but that's everything we've spent in the county as a fire department, as a fire association. I mean, I think it's a good starting point that we can all break down and try to get your budget deal figured out. I mean, it's,
Yeah, that's the only thing I needed. Just to verify it and put it up, that's fine.
You clearly put a lot of work into this.
Yes, you did.
I mean, I
can tell.
don't have
Yeah.
much going on in my life.
I know what it was like, yeah. Yeah.
We know that's not true.
I don't have any questions. I just wanted to make sure the
That's
people,
what you wanted.
yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted the people to see it and something to verify, just for the commission to look at. And I appreciate that. That's the only thing. And that's what y'all considered your expenditures last year.
And I've went over it 3 times
Okay.
to tell them to make sure it's right, so.
Okay, well, that's fine.
You're right.
Commission have any questions in regard to this document?
No,
Fire department.
No, I don't have any questions.
And we've been told by Loop Creek didn't have anything and that's being worked on.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Creek,
You
that's,
got a total, you don't have it broken down.
Right.
I mean, everybody else should be what they spent, so.
Well,
I'm
thank
good.
you.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't have
That's
any
it.
questions,
You have any questions, John?
but I really appreciate it.
Yep.
that you-
I mean, I just figured there would be. We
No,
had a lot of input on wanting it, so I figured.
Yeah, no,
we'd talk about it.
No, well, I don't want to say too much, but already, I've done the budgets, I've looked at all the invoices. I have a pretty good idea. So I have, believe me, I looked over it with fine tooth comb. I mean,
And that's why I'm here.
I had done
Shoot away.
it, so I don't have any questions because I looked over. it. And you know, I mean,
Odds.
I mean, I've been through just about
you
every
had
invoice
questions,
in the
you
last
asked them.
year at all the fire departments individually.
Right.
So I mean, I've got a pretty good idea what the expenditures are. So when I seen it, I get it. I appreciate
I
it.
mean, and it,
I just wanted the people to see it. I wanted the people to see it. And that's why I want to ask people, put it up there so the people see it.
Okay.
hey,
Okay,
Well, thank you.
thank you.
sorry.
That was not hard.
No,
was
it was good.
All right.
Library board.
Yep. Who's here to speak? Who's here to put a budget in for the library board?
I am.
You want to step up and
Y'all should have a copy of it.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I also got some extra things that you want to look at, like the expenditures, income that we brought in.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I don't know if I think you weren't here when I said it, but we would like to start having an annual presentation from the library, annual budget from the library board as well.
Okay.
That's something we're trying to do with anybody who receives for their main operations in county
Happy
funding.
to do that.
Thank you.
What are your income was from the different towns that are ready to.
How many branches do we have open countywide right now?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Can you guys keep stats on the use of the libraries?
Yes.
Is that how you make the decisions to close one like you did in Meadow Bridge? What were Meadow Bridge's stats in relation to the next lowest library?
You
know,
it was it was gradually going down over the years. And also the court was housed, just deteriorating, and we looked at everything for a new place, and everything was going to be a lot of money, more than we bring into the levy.
Did you guys reach out to the Board of Education about locating it within the school or
Yes, we did.
something? How did that go?
If we wanted a room in the new, we were asking for it's gonna cost between 620,000 to 640,000.
Total overall or just just,
That was this the room.
just to get a room in the
Yes.
school?
And that was through the architect. We had a conversation with him. It's in our board minutes. I didn't bring that with us, but the other was we talked to them about the elementary school that they had, that they're scheduled to tear down.
Mm-hmm.
Can you all hear? I don't know if this.
I can hear, I mean, I don't, is it on?
Yeah,
Amy, can you check
Okay.
that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's one.
it's on.
Okay.
But it's
You
not
want-
pointed toward her mouse.
You want to move down closer to you, ma'am?
There you go.
And that's just gonna help.
Okay.
Okay. Then we went to the school board about the newer element, I mean, it's scheduled for demolition. There's two elementary schools there,
Mhm.
a middle school and an elementary school, and we were gonna, they offered that. Stipulations that we had to be financially able to, take care of it. We had the color that the building that, at the high school and the new elementary. So we had two contractors come in. Once again, it was going to cost between 600, 700,000. Because we were severing the one building off, we would have to put a new wall up. Work with the electric, plumbing, heating. And it just, we backed away from it because we just thought, once again, we don't get that much money from the levy. That was gonna be one of what we created.
And I think you told me it would also be transferred, if you left, it would be,
Yeah, if we, for some reason, if we left that building, it would be right back to the school board. And, well, the board members didn't really like that. I mean, after we spent all that money, going into the building to get it ready. And it was really too big for what we needed. We got, we'd like to get somebody else in there. Maybe help the expenses, but we don't know.
Yeah.
who would- And then we looked at some other buildings that were vacant in Middlebridge.
How many homes?
There was one that had like 2 or 3 buildings left there. And I forget how much it was, but it was gonna need a lot of renovation for it. We looked at a restaurant, and that was the one that we all kind of liked. I can't remember the name of the restaurant, but Carol's.
yeah,
And
I know the one you're
we
talking
were,
about.
we were gonna have to gut it because it smelled like, in their restaurant, it smelled like grease. And so that was gonna be, I think they were wanting $70,000 for it, $40,000 to get it renovated to be acceptable.
It's a big building too, isn't it? It's pretty good size. Not that big?
No,
Only just about 12 to 14 square feet. Only for the size of all.
So we have to go for Bill over there. We're not, I mean, the letter we sent to the, and I have it here if you want to see it. If they would. We send a book bill over there once a week.
That terrifies children.
What,
You know it terrifies children, right?
the bookmobile?
Yes.
Why would you do
I
that?
have one citizen, I'm Josie Kincaid, I'm on city council. On town council. And part of what she's saying, I don't agree with. Because we didn't have ample notification of the closing. When they have funding for new computers and everything. Meadowbridge didn't have anything up there. Until we had a meeting and I brought it up to them, where's our computers?
Well,
We offered them a 50-year lease. Where the building is. We did everything that we could to repair it. We asked them for help to repair it, they refused. Okay, now where's all the money that we paid into the levy? The citizens of Meadowbridge. That we have in water library in ours. And one of the citizens sent me a message about when she took her granddaughter into the mobile, they were terrified. Now, he will not really get into a van, a camera or nothing, because she's terrified.
So let me
One
ask
of
you
the
this.
reasons that there wasn't so many people going to the librarian would close to go to basketball games when it was supposed to be open on Thursday evenings till 7 o'clock. The librarian would close because her daughter had basketball games. And there was stipulations that nobody showed up. Well, when they did, there was no librarian there. Get into the building.
So let me ask you this, because I'm glad you're here. Has the city council come up with any alternatives affordable alternatives to help them find a place? Because you guys are best suited. I mean, you know your community better and what, I know we have and I understand why the schools are prohibitive because, you know, they're just so, I mean, Midland Trail turned its into a community center and the old oil heat was just killing them, just the bills and stuff like that. So, but were you guys willing to help the library board try to find a new location? Because it seemed to me like based on what Commissioner Lucis told me about his discussion with them, that they are open to it. It's just a matter of finding one that's.
Offer them where the library is now, a 50-year lease. And I think about $5 a year. Something like that.
There was no,
Yeah. It wasn't much. And when she come over there, she's like, well, we can do this and we can do that. You know, we're like, okay, why not get one of these buildings to put on here? You have the money instead of paying $600,000, $700,000, $800,000. You could do it for less than $100,000 and put it on that property. Oh, no, we're just gonna close you. And that was it. They come in with over the years, I've been there 24 years. And over the years, oh, we're gonna close it, we're gonna close it, we're gonna close it. Not enough people come. And like I said, when the children did go, the library was closed. Well, I have the library open from 8 to 12 when the kids are in school.
Right. Well, there are people, like I'm a public defender and there are people who would need to use it during the day, like for jobs and
Yeah.
things like that, but.
it was open on Tuesdays till 7 o'clock.
No, ma'am, it was not. You're standing there lying.
I am
Well,
not.
Yes,
ma'am,
I
ma'am,
worked there.
ma'am,
Standing lying.
ma'am,
I'm
please,
sorry.
please don't do that in our meeting. We'll get all the information from everybody and give you all a chance to speak.
I mean,
Um,
you know,
The main
it's
goal
not-
right here is because it's not something that can't be undone. So what we're trying to do is figure out if, you know, but this is not the meeting for it, because the main thing is we want a budget presentation today. We're happy to put this issue, and I hate to have y'all drive the mountain again, but back on another agenda to try to see how we can help reopen the library in Meadow Bridge. I mean, is there a community center up there anywhere?
we have a senior center
So you have a senior center.
and we're in the process of trying to get funds to redo it.
Okay, it would.
Because we're trying to get a warming center there.
Do you think the city would be open to having, you know, to having the library co-located in there? Is it big enough or it's not big enough?
And, you know, we've even as council discussed bringing it before the board and everything, the monies that y'all are allocated from Meadow Bridge and where you allocate to the different libraries, why not just give it to the town of Meadow Bridge, let us have our own library?
Well, we can't
See,
do that.
yeah, well, the board, I think, yeah, I think the board's making the decision on that, but I do want to ask a question. Your community center, y'all are building a new community center, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, we didn't get enough funds to build a new one. We have to,
How much funds do you need?
we need at least another $400,000.
So if
Build a new one.
you build a new one, could it be designed to accommodate the books?
For the area.
You knew where I was going with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Ma'am, she's tried to talk quite a bit now.
I'm also the newbie to the council, so I'm learning this process, and the library is my passion for the kids and for people who really want to learn. We have to fight to get the computers for the kids. We have kids that are barely getting fed by their families. They need the computers we need a place where they can come and do their homework. We need to get a valid librarian in my eyes. And I think differently because I'm paramilitary, but in my eyes, the common sense is to have the hours from say 1 to 7 or even 2 to 7, so the kids can be there after school and they can have somebody there that's willing to, answer a question about math or answer a question. That's my dream as the newbie to do for that library is to invest in the kids mainly. I know adult kids, but not very much. And I've only been there since 2019, so I don't know all of it, none of this history on it. But I know that there's been many times.
Robin Cypher.
Myself.
One of our board members who lives there.
Closed. And the answer you got, well, the hours are posted on the wall. Well, that don't mean nothing if there's nobody there.
Well, let me ask you something, man. I don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah, that's okay.
would you be willing to come back here and discuss the community center with the library in another meeting? I know I'm probably speaking out of term, commissioners, but I think the reason I mentioned this, the community center was brought up a couple months ago. And if we could work something out, I'm not saying to hurt anybody to do this, but would you be willing to come back and bring the design of the community center to the commission and we have a meeting and discuss maybe how the commission may help with the library?
This engineer would have to.
Yeah, we would have to discuss.
You do have a design, correct?
They're redesigning it.
Okay, so if they're doing that, it's an optimal time to maybe get them to get with the library board, because I'll tell you, if we're able to kill these two birds with one stone, it would be great. You know, if we had the community center and we had the library co-located, then there would be more personnel arguably to man it and make sure it's open. I'm a strong believer that if you're advertising for open, better be open, you know? So, but that's something, but of course, we also know good help is hard to find too, so.
There is a community interest. I personally have people who drive up to my house with boxes of books and say, this is for the library when it reopens. That's how enthusiastic they are about it. They're willing to put out and help with the books. The fact that they took our books, I guess they took the bookshelf through everything. And they're willing to help with the expense of the books, just in donation.
Well, I cannot promise anything. I'm not the kind of person to promise jobs or money or anything. But if you'd be willing to get the engineer here and all of us meet again in a meeting, maybe the commission may have a little funding. I'm not going to speak out. I don't want to speak out of turn.
Well, we had the COVID money, so there, we have put aside a rough ballpark of that COVID money for each of the main districts. And, we put a lot of money, $250,000 in the Midland Trail Community Center, for example. So the commission does have some of that money left that was designated. And we did invest in a water project up in Meadow Bridge, but I think that was only just over 100,000. I mean, I feel like,
Here, just a couple weeks ago, it was 68.
Okay, so yeah, so it was, but my point is that we have not invested everything that we would have or intended to invest in Meadow Bridge or Montgomery, because the project in Montgomery we were going to invest in kind of fell through because they weren't going to be able to maintain the building they wanted us to invest in. So it'll probably be diverted to something else, but.
And we can use library funds with county funds if it can work out that way. Not promising anybody anything, but if everybody works
Like to
together, we
try.
might be able to do it. I mean, I'm just.
We'll make it, we'll call emergency council meeting and discuss it and see if we can get the engineer.
Would you be willing to
right now,
come?
He just had surgery.
Would you
so-
be willing to come back too, ma'am?
Would you be willing to meet with their engineer to see if we can come up with because that would be, Meadow Bridge is a small community, but still needs a place for everybody to go. And, for kids to be able to go, we wanted a community center in each of these communities or something for kids to do, somewhere for kids to go.
The senior center mainly feeds the seniors, and our goal is to put a warming station in there for hours is out.
Yeah.
And we have people who run out of water during the hot season, and we want them to be able to be taken care of.
just be able to take a shower and feed them.
Well, I mean, kids too. I mean, the Board of Education might want to work with the center to feed the kids during the summer and that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
we talked about that, if we could get a library once or twice a month, you know, do like a lunch for the kids and, you know, activities and stuff. Because this past year, I put together a free hot dog lunch and school supplies collection and everything, and it was a major hit.
Well, listen, that's great. And
And,
we know you guys, you know, love your community, know what their needs are, and that's why I'm so glad you came. So you could convey that to us. And it's not too late. But I believe her when she tells me their financial problems were very difficult to keep it open. But that doesn't mean if we don't have a building that's dual purpose and that qualifies for grants and other things, you know, that we couldn't work it out somehow.
which
I
the
mean,
area. of
I think it's
building is,
doable.
I don't know if it would be big enough, to be honest with you. I don't think so, the area.
Well, it'd be worth a shot to look at. I mean, I'm throwing suggestions out there, so maybe we can get something.
There's a house over there for sale now. You know, right beside the Methodist church, that y'all connected with that.
Well, they probably did. Oh, did you?
No.
Well,
Not
so,
recently, no.
but if you guys would put your heads together and come up with some recommendations for the library board, and then come to us with any funding requests and just kind of present what this is gonna cost, you know, we're always want to hear it, even if we can't ultimately do it.
That's what we're saying the most, if you don't take care of the kids, then the community is gonna die.
We
You know,
understand. We
and
understand.
we feel like.
I'm glad you got to keep your school, by the way. They closed mine
Oh,
down at Valley.
We
Yeah.
feel like Meadowbridge is the lowest unspoken part, to be honest, with you, when it comes to saving money.
Well, it isn't anymore because we have, you know, we remember that there is, you know, an entire county out there that's paying taxes. So
Right.
that's the
And,
reason
you know,
when we
where's
looked
our-
at,
You know, where's our taxes going if it's not going to be invested in our town?
well, another thing we've looked at is getting broadband up Route 60 there. So that's another thing we've looked in. That's going to affect your community.
Funding for that too, and, we had one company that, just bowed out on us. And we hired another, one, and we were just discussing it at council last night. We haven't heard a word from them. You
I know
it's
we're
just
working
like,
on it to get it.
You know, we'll get
Run.
cops over there, it takes them out and have the cops come up there. You know, and my husband had a massive heart attack, October 30th last year. It took him almost 30 minutes to get from Davies to the main bridge.
It's scary. I know.
You know.
It's scary, and we work with Gen Care to try to get, but if they're on another call, it's kind of hard to.
No, I was on the phone with 911, all they're leaving now, and that was 20 minutes before they got there. I could have took my husband out of the fix. You know, and we need something, you know, in that area, and we've talked about maybe getting EMS over, you know, maybe twice a week or something. You know, over with the fire station, you know, but that's no avail. And like I said, we just feel like we're
Why
much.
don't you guys come in, because this is the first meeting I've ever seen somebody from City Meadowbridge attend too. Why don't you guys get on the agenda and give us, you know, a presentation on what your needs are and your priorities? You know, we obviously know the library is an issue. You know, we know the senior center is an issue. And that way we can have your input on that.
Something just came to mind that I was asking him about. A part of our fire department building is not being used because apparently there's mold or something.
Yeah, that's why we used to have the town hall.
That might be a space that if it could be repaired and cleaned up, then we might be able to use for another.
That's probably a fair levy expenditure, don't you think? I mean, the fire levy probably cover that. So if the chief came in and asked for that money, got an estimate on mitigation for that, we could probably, yeah, we'd probably get it fixed. Like that's,
How big of an area? I mean, we're talking and talking. I mean, maybe we need to put,
she would know about the library.
well, the library, she could, I mean, they may even use funds for that too.
Yeah, it's a better life.
I would not recommend that building.
No, it needs to be torn out.
Yes.
And, you know, I was actually going to some of the, mobile home companies and asking them if they would donate a used mobile home. And we got knocked down from that too. So, you know, we try to fight, and right now we're homeless as a town. We don't have a town hall. We're in our mission building.
If you want to
Sorry.
stay after the meeting, I'll talk to you about that. I have some ideas about what you might be able to do for that, and I know we'll all work with you and help you however we can.
Now, our mission, we used to give out food boxes, you know, during Christmas and Thanksgiving and everything. But since we had to move in there for a town hall, we took over half that building. You know, and it's not open hardly anymore because, you know, there's no place for clothes or anything like that because we had it. We got the town hall now. Is where.
Well, y'all got time to hang out after the meeting today to talk to Miss Taylor and us?
All of us, yeah.
Yeah, all of us. And Angela, I do want you to try to get with them about the dilapidated building stuff too. I don't know whether you got that information. I brought
We
it.
haven't received it all yet because I know we have some.
Okay, well, we're gonna make sure Angela gets you that information. You wanna, and I'm not trying to push y'all off, but I was gonna let her finish and if y'all wanna stay at.
And I didn't mean to get upset, but it, you know, you gotta look at our standpoint.
Oh, no, ma'am, we
You know, the library board is not being treated, to be honest.
well, I think she's saying she wants to work with you. I believe that's what. Okay,
But I will say that I don't like being called a liar. But we sent something March 1st over to the town council, asking you to come to our meeting on March 15th, 2 weeks before the meeting. Nobody showed up.
I never received it.
I called 5 minutes after I faxed this out, right here. Oh, we have it. We'll make sure they get it.
Well, then that's on the problem report.
Because I don't know.
Did we get one? I don't remember. I heard on the news.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do?
Well, I mean, and
Can I give you my email and you send it directly to me after you send me a copy also?
I can do that. But I know this was
Yeah,
too,
you know,
this was in the past.
I am about that property. You and I have for years about that.
well,
It just breaks my heart to be the kids don't have anywhere.
well, we're gonna figure that out. So
Let me tell you, I was there in April to work because the person that was in April at that time, that was, yeah, her name was Courtney. She couldn't be there, her kids were sick. Two Tuesdays, we were open till 7 o'clock, I was there. The last time I worked there, not a soul came in. 2 little girls came in to work their hands because they had been outside. I mean, and I worked there, no one worked there. I know she called every chief this when he was on the to go. I couldn't see Cindy somebody 45 minutes to an hour to work in 1 hour. And the bridge.
Yeah,
Sorry.
okay, well, listen, ladies. We're here to hear their budget presentation. However, we would like to have you back and talk to you after the meeting about these other issues, because this is the best representation we've had at a meeting for Meadow Bridge. Unprecedented in the time I've been here. So I really want to know what your ideas are and what you think your priorities are. Ma'am.
Okay. What do you need to know? We sent you the approved budget for 23-24.
I got a couple of things up here that I just got today, so I'm not sure what all this is.
got it.
Well, I have 22-23.
Look like this.
Okay. Okay. How many employees work for the library who are in the salary number?
We have a 13, we have 2 part-time and the rest are full-time. total expenditures, we're figuring towards 860,000. 600 million inches. We get a GIA, a grants and aid from the Library Commission. Used to be 234,533 that we would get every year. All of that went to wages, and then part of the levy went to the rest of the wages. With the decline in our population of Fayette County, they cut our GIA $21,462. We were able to get it back to a supplemental grant this year, which is what they're going to do for the next couple of years. And then reassess it, I guess. And we have broke down how much we spend for books, electronic materials, software, audiovisual, periodicals, physical spaces, that's for gas and electric, water, sewage, trash, telephone, data, fire and police fees, a government city service fee, and then insurance, equipment, and supplies and library operations. They're all cut down.
Thank you. Can I get a copy?
You can have my copy after the meeting. I've got an electronic form somewhere.
And then what I just passed out was what we paid 22-23. The expenditures, everything is in, it's red on mine, it's a gray shade. That's what we went over. And so we had to rearrange some things. Gas and electric and sewage and trash, everything went up.
It looks like basically you adjusted the 23-24 budget to accommodate the overage you had in
Yes.
22-23.
And then I gave you the income that we received. It's broken down, which O'Keel gives and Fayetteville, Ansted, Mount Hope. We're working on what they want.
Where's the library in Montgomery now? That building burned down.
It's on Terry Street in front of the house.
Okay.
I don't have any questions.
I don't have any questions either. I appreciate you taking the trouble to put this together for us at the last minute.
Absolutely, thank you. You have any questions, John? Nope.
Commissioners, may I ask a question?
Yep.
When it comes to, your employees, do you run background checks now? Do you have any requirements or prohibitions regarding, your employees? I'm working an issue with one of the chiefs, and there's a concern about one of the people that are working at it. I have an municipality, some people working at it. Looking at the state code, I couldn't find requirements or prohibitions about employment status and that. But I didn't know whether grants, either at the county or state level or federal level, would mandate any of that. I mean, do you guys have anything within any funding source or anything within your procedure to address criminal convictions for people and people with those working as your employees?
We just required a drug and a backup drug check.
Okay, but you do run background checks on these individuals? What happens if they have a criminal conviction?
We're not gonna hurt them.
You're not?
No, I mean, that's just the ones that we are, interviewing, that we want to hire. We don't hire them until we get that backup check.
Is there a requirement that you, that they report any criminal trouble after they're hired?
No, we don't, I don't think we have anything at all.
Okay, you want to talk to her after? Okay. All right,
All right, Les, that's it?
moving on to flood debris.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is anybody here to talk about that? Is any? Alan?
Yeah, he's out in the hall. Or he was. There he is. Okay, let's take a comment.
if you don't mind. Okay.
We're gonna take a 5-minute
We're gonna take
break.
a
real
5-minute
quick.
break, Alan.
You want my- any-
We'll bring it back for that. All right, we'll call the meeting back to order. Alan?
Yes, sir.
You said you have the pastor here with you.
Yes, I sure do. Mr. Floyd from Green, from the Carbondale Baptist Church.
That's a church down there that Senator Manchin came to, right, during the floods. Is it right there at the mouth of the hollow? Oh, so it's on up.
Yes, half a mile.
And you said in your letter that is that sewage still bad, the smell and everything?
Creek's starting to turn black.
7 miles.
We have said letter after letter about it.
They said, sorry, we have no funds, we have 7 miles of broken sewage.
Who said that?
It was the PSD.
McConnell Falls PSD?
Yes.
But that was supposed to be covered by the FEMA.
They said they haven't had any funds.
They haven't gotten the FEMA funds yet.
Yeah.
We understand the design is still a year and a half out.
We'll
So
put on the next agenda that,
there's gotta be something done. I mean, I just don't understand.
I think we need to send a letter to the governor about it and ask about the FEMA funds, because they were approved for that, for the sewage and stuff. We couldn't get it sadly for private citizens, but we were able to.
It seems like they can even borrow, I mean, I hate to even say this, borrow the money, pay the interest on the money to get it done. I mean, there's gotta be something they can do.
At least I don't live there, but people in the community, it's very bad.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well, we knew, and I mean, when it gets hot, it's gonna be a whole lot worse.
Yeah. That's,
Again.
it's,
Well, the creek
Yeah.
started to turn black.
But this is too long. I mean, I thought those funds were released for those things, or at least close.
They
They were definitely approved.
it's an emergency. It should have been.
I still understand the design is still a year and a half out.
Yeah. And Region 4 is helping with that. It's Leslie that's in
But
charge.
here's the deal, because it was part of that declared emergency, they should be able to get expedited help on some, shouldn't they, Michael?
Should be.
Bless, because it was declared an emergency by the governor at the time, so they should still be able to get it fixed. You know, that's a critical issue. That's not,
Yeah.
well, we're gonna address it at our next meeting again. I mean, we keep sending letters, but maybe we'll get a response this time. Maybe you can call. We'll just authorize you to call.
Okay.
Well, we're here today because we have a bill issue that we need to take out in order for FEMA to assist that. They have to come up with $6,000 to move the dirt burn that was pushed out. That's the only key to that. So the FEMA wants that taken out so they can continue helping them.
Yeah, there's a bid in here.
I saw it from Steve.
That's
So, I mean, I know we allocated $40,000 for the flood victims, but that's for individuals. I don't want to I would like us not to take from that until we get our criteria and make sure we cover all those needs, but I moved to approve the $6,000 for the dirt move for the church.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done.
Easy. Thanks for bringing it to us.
Yep. You're welcome.
Yeah, just Pastor, you want sent to you or the name of the church or how do
The
they?
name of the church would be fine, and I can give you the address. You want it now? Okay.
That's it, isn't it?
I tried not to.
If there's more people that need help down there, they're starting to come in now. You know, I just come to each.
Well,
So much
if
money
it's a-
for that, haven't we?
We allocated at a previous, so those will be covered at a previous meeting. We allocated $40,000 that's going to be administered by the United Way to cover that stuff.
So do I assume that we're not the ones that had and.
We owe them, I don't want to send them on a wild goose chase. Give us a couple weeks to make sure we reach out to not United Way with some criteria. Kevin was going to give us some criteria to use to see who qualifies. You know, you don't want somebody with 6-figure salary getting it. You want the people who really.
Yeah, these folks don't.
Yeah, oh, I know that. I'm just saying, but there's always, like, you know, when we were buying food down there, there are people stealing and using the food vouchers like they shouldn't have been. So,
Folks have.
I know, you have family. You have family up there, I know.
But they're all.
Yeah, well, Heather's a worker. But, anyway, but we did allocate $40,000 and that is exactly the type of thing. So if you could just take a list and get their names and numbers,
Okay,
as soon as we get it done, then you'll be able to call them and just let them know that.
okay.
We just need to get them the criteria. I don't want them to call United Way and say the commission hasn't given us criteria yet.
Yeah, from,
They should.
okay, so I can go ahead and contact them.
That'll help expedite.
Or your, yeah, you see
Mhm.
this one. And whatever else, something like that. And I'll get with them and see if there's anything else that's on there that they may need help with. I mean,
I can't remember his last name off the top of my head, but Brandon, you know him?
Which one?
Down in Smithers. I know he needed help. He had to do something like that. Machino, you know him? He lives over across the street from where the Fragles were,
Oh, okay,
like right in there.
okay.
And I know the Fragles needed help, so. Okay,
Thank you so very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Second.